Good morning, caretakers, and welcome to Caretakers Corner, where we discuss everything that has to do with taking care of our elderly disabled parents, our disabled spouses, our adult disabled children, and ourselves. My name is CJ, and I am your guide on this journey, and we are celebrating our second birthday. Check that out right back there. And in this video, we're going to go over what we've accomplished in the last year and what we've lived through in the last year and what all I plan for the next year. So, remember, I can't sing, so I don't want to hear it. I can't even light the candles. Alright. So happy birthday to Caretakers Corner and to the community out there. I thank you all for being around for 2 years. I thank all of you who have joined in the last year. And here's to another wonderful 20 or 30 years. Yay! You know what's difficult? Trying to find one cupcake on a Saturday evening. I could not, and I don't need 1,000 cupcakes in the house. So I had to go and buy just one piece of cake, which I found at an ice cream shop. So, go team. The pleasures of living in a rural area. I love it. I love being close enough to the city that I can drive, but close enough to being, I love being in the rural areas. So, go team. All right, so this last year has been hell. I got to reviewing what all I was going to discuss on this video, and I actually started crying. So if I start crying, I'm sorry. But as we all remember, I almost lost Barbara this last year in the attack. There for a while, we all thought she wasn't going to make it. It was touch and go. She had to have an emergency surgery and then a surgery a few days later, and she was in the hospital for 14 days. And as you all know, we just recently had another surgery, and she's going to have another one within the next few weeks. They haven't got the exact date back. We thought she was going to lose her eye and that she was going to have a bunch of issues on her head. The head healed up, and the eye we're still not positive about, but it's come a long way. And through that whole experience, I've learned, I always, before that, I was talking about, be sure and take your time for yourself and take your 15 minutes and everything. And you notice, I think since then, I've been also preaching a lot about, that sounds like a bad word, but I've been talking a lot about family time. Take your time for yourself, but also remember to take time to spend with those you love. That's very important. I mean, I hate that it took something so drastic to bring me around to understand that. Once you're in that situation, there's a lot of things that just doesn't matter anymore. I mean, overtime and all that. I mean, obviously I still have to have money to take care of my family and to pay for all our outings, but I'm not as diligent about it. If we've got something planned, and we've got things planned out pretty far, if there's any way I can get out of doing overtime in order to spend with my family now, I do. We take family time a lot more seriously around here. We actually plan most weekends. We plan at least one day of going out and doing something for a little bit. And I find that's very important. It's also helped my health a whole lot. I'm a lot less stressful, and weekends have become just family weekends. So I told you we have started celebrating no news weekends, where we don't look at news notifications or anything like that. And I think that's helped everybody's stress level a whole lot also. I also lost my stepdad this last year in September. I'm responsible a lot more for my mom. We had to get her moved over into the other house, get her set up there. So that was a stressful situation, and we're still working through all the nuances, because going from occasionally having to help out and go visit every week and stuff like that to being the sole caretaker, that's a big step, and you got to get used to it, because Mom's not used to my total schedule and my boundaries yet, and I'm still getting used to now, instead of just one time a week, multiple times a week, having to check on her and getting all the information for the doctors and all of that together. I mean, it's a big step, and we're working through it, and we'll get there. She's still dealing with the grief from my stepdad's passing, and that's something, though, they were together for 30 years, so that'll just take time, and you can't hurry that. I'm also trying to help her understand she needs to get into counseling. She needs to go out, go to church. Where we live, you can throw a stone and hit a church. So I told her that gives you something to do at least 2 days a week, sometimes more, go to a different church. You could go to a different church every week if you wanted to check out all the different belief systems in our area. We have a lot of churches. That's one thing this state has a lot of. I think we have more churches than we do people to attend them. And she's having to work through all that. And I'm there for emotional support, or I try to be there for emotional support. Sometimes I just don't come off as being very emotionally there just because I have a lot on my mind. So I try to be there. I try to be present. And that's something I've really tried a lot more this year, is to be present in the moment, because I have, or at least I believe I have, adult onset ADHD, and standing still for any period of time is difficult. Sitting down for any period of time is damn near impossible. So trying to just stay there and listen to somebody for a long period of time is really hard for me. And it's not that I'm not paying attention and I'm not empathetic about the situation. It's very difficult for me just to stand still. I didn't used to have this problem, but I guess it started about, 15 years ago, and it has just gotten worse. So I've got that to deal with. But what I plan on in the next year, I'm blessed that we made it through the year, and I'm blessed that Barbara survived, and she has done more than survive. She has thrived through this situation. She's rocking the eye patches, and she's not having a problem going out in public, which is one thing I was worried about. As far as the scalp, you can't even see it, so even without a hat on, you can't see it. But she normally has a beanie or a hat. Some of the surgical caps that they have are really cool, so she's gotten a bunch of those, and she's enjoying all that. Of course, we wish it hadn't happened, but we are moving on with that. We are going to defeat any problems that come along with it. So we're pretty happy about that. I think the channel has come a long way. I've gotten a lot better at the videos. I've got a dedicated area for filming, as you see. We still got some more work to do with it, but we're renovating the upper house, so that's kind of our priority right now. And then we'll get down here and finish this up. I'm hoping my video content has gotten better. I know my editing has gotten better, and now I can do thumbnails, so I'm pretty happy about that. So all in all, it really was a very productive year considering everything that went on. This year, number one, I'm hoping for a much calmer year. It's starting out a little hectic, but not hectic that we can't handle. Not like medically hectic or anything out like that, but just hectic because we've got all these projects going on and they all seem to be going on at the same time. I'm hoping to learn to do more with the editing and some music in the background that doesn't sound quite so loud, and just learning more about doing videos. Any topics you guys would like me to discuss, I'm serious, put them in the comments because I'm starting to run out of ideas. So if you happen to have any, please pop it in, even if you think it's a dumb idea. There are no dumb ideas, folks. Put them down there. If you're wondering about it, or you have a comment about it, if it's something you've dealt with, I guarantee there are other people out there that need to know that, because they're dealing with it too. So it's very important that we get these information. Something that's very little to us that we came about, say 20 years ago, is something that somebody else is just starting their caretaking journey, and they need that help. So please, put it down there. Let's comment. Let's share. Let's give the advice that we have. Be nice about giving the advice, and don't be upset if somebody makes a comment saying, this didn't work for me. Just because it didn't work for them and it worked for you does not mean we need to get rude. I don't think we've ever had a rude situation in my comments, so I'm not worried about that. I'm hoping one day we'll get big enough where we will. I know that sounds like a weird thing to hope for, but that is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that our channel will grow a lot more this year. I will continue to produce videos whether we grow or not, but I hope we do. And with that said, I'm going to say happy birthday, community. I will see you next week. I'm going to do a video on something that I have not touched on. I may have mentioned it because it's something we have to deal with, but I haven't done a dedicated video on it, and that is how sometimes we feel. How we feel frustrated, and how we can feel angry about being caretakers. And it is one that I try not to discuss because there are so many other aspects that we need to deal with, and I've suggested therapy for this part of caretaking. But we do have a lot of feelings that we have to admit that we have so that we can be able to do our job. And so the negative feelings part of caretaking is one I am going to address in next week's video. I don't know what I'm going to title it yet, but that is what I plan on discussing next week. So please join me next week for the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and please share. Get the word out about the community so that we can get people lots of help. When I started this channel 2 years ago, I couldn't find a lot of other channels that really dealt hard with caretaking. There were some that had a few videos out about how to load people in a vehicle and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that stuff is important. It is. But once again, not a lot of videos just dealing with us. You know, and I do want to discuss, I do discuss things to make our lives better and helping those that we take care of. But I also discuss things that really impact us more. Once again, hope to see you next week. Like, subscribe, and share. Love you guys. Bye-bye.